Fantastic. I think this is a great stage. With that one, we go into the keynote. I'm very excited to have Miruna here with us from KPN. She will tell us a little bit about the transformation story, about the new office that you set up, and we're very keen. And please give a warm round of applause and welcome.
Thank you. Okay, this is for the slides.
Yes.
Is this on, guys? Yeah, okay, you hear me. I can also speak very loud. I used to teach at the university and try to imagine to explain something to teenagers and actually engineers and physicists. This is a personal story. I'm a scientist, I'm a particle physicist and astrophysicist. And that sounds impressive, right? But actually what's impressive is the mindset I carry into telco. I've been an academic for very long. I've liked academia, and I wanted to try an industry where I can apply my mindset. I've tried banking. How many of you are in banking? Oh, none of you. Then I can say it safely. I didn't like it. So around 2009, banking approached me, do you want to work for us? I started working, and I started getting really bored. Because in 2009, banking was not really digital. So I moved to telco. I used to work at T-Mobile. And telco, at the time, was super exciting. iPhone introduction, the growth of data, redesigning your network, redesigning your customer journey. It was super exciting. I left T-Mobile last year, and I thought I will never work in telco. Do you know KPN? It is a telco. And why did I say I don't want to work in telco? It's because I thought it's an old company, it's an incumbent, it has dusty infrastructure, you cannot really innovate, you cannot really do exciting stuff. They are stuck in procedures, they are stuck in a mindset. And I've had a chat with a boss I used to work at T-Mobile, and he said, we have a really exciting agenda at KPN, a transformation agenda. And I will talk to you a little bit more about that agenda. It excited me, because I said, if you can change an operator like KPN, you can do anything. How many of you are Dutchies? You have KPN, I hope, right? Well, after this talk, you may become KPN.
Of course.
This is a picture I took a few weeks back when it was the moon eclipse. And I always think, why do I like tech so much? I like it because tech can bring you a long way if you have an end goal. And that's what I carry from physics, the end goal. In astrophysics and particle physics, you know what could happen, you know where you want to go, you know maybe your first step, but you don't know what's happening after the first step. You need to relearn at each time. And at KPN, I actually lead a team of strategists, tech strategists, a team of architects, and a team of transformation managers. In my role, I sit at tables, business side of the table, like my colleague there, and I sit also at the tech table with executives. And what I've noticed that at both tables, it's all about tech. Only tech. The business side became a tech specialist. They want tools. The techies, of course, they get excited if a new tool is thrown at them. And what concerned me is that, is this really AI a problem? Is it a tool that actually we are looking for? Or is actually the mindset you need to carry when you implement a tool? KPN has many tools. I haven't seen an IT landscape as complex as KPN. If you need to move into a digital space, and especially AI space, you actually have to clean up a bit your legacy. For a company like KPN, cleaning up, it's very difficult, because most of the people work there for 20, 30 years, and they have built these tools themselves. They need to say goodbyes to their babies. That's very tough. And that's why, for me, in my tech role, even though I'm a tech nerd, I want to take the culture side of the organization. And actually, Rob invited me with a very exciting topic, because I usually talk tech. And he said, talk about the culture you encounter. We know that McKinsey, analysts like, anybody from McKinsey here today? No. So, not yet. So they have actually claimed that a telco can grow their margins in EBITDA by at least to 8 to 10 points if they are using AI at scale. What does it mean using AI at scale? It means transforming all your business processes from the customer end to the core. And I actually think AI will power telco, but actually the culture will determine if we are actually surviving it or actually thriving it. KPN has set a transformation agenda. We have at least 4 programs: digital breakthrough for our business customers. We have unlocked data. We really want to make data available at scale for all our models. We are also cleaning up our product catalogs, which makes it more simple for us, but also for the customers. And we are also looking on how can we also transform our leadership model. Because if you are running tech transformations, the leadership will also need to change. How many of you have been through the organizations in your life? None of you? Come on, be daring. That's a very important skill in these times. We talk about change management, but nowadays change management is very much entangled with the tech side of it. You realize that our marketeers are tech experts. You realize that your architects are also leaning very much into the AI buzzword. So I have to handle the two. Okay? I always say in technical revolution, it feels risky. And I will also give one example that some companies took a risk and failed. You always feel at the edge of the cliff. This is a picture of me and my son. And most of the people jump without thinking. They bought a new tool. Let's use it. But also it may make you freeze, that you take no step. That's also bad. You need to take the first step in the right direction. There is a company, I think worldwide, but specifically the Dutch side, went bankrupt a few weeks ago. Carpet-Ride. Why did they go bankrupt? Do you know? They invested in a fancy IT system. They wanted to upgrade their IT landscape. They wanted to be modern. And actually, they've implemented it, but it didn't return on their invest. So their IT foundation, it's extremely solid. However, it's not enough to carry them in the business world, so they are now bankrupt. Whoever buys them, if they will buy them, they will get a solid IT infrastructure. But what do you do with IT if you have no vision? And that's why in my journey at KPN, I say, we do things, but what is your purpose? What is your goal at the end of it? Because once you implement it, it stays there. And AI works at scale if it works along all your infrastructure. It cannot work in silos. The market, the analysts, are still settling on the definition. How do you work when the definition and the standards are still moving? You need to set your foundations right. So in the agentic world, you should not stop and wait what happens. You should take the first steps. I want to give the example of my team. A few weeks ago, we started an agentic AI project as well. And they need to set up their first agentic AI architecture. And we had the board 2 weeks ago. And one of them came to me, I don't think we will be ready. We don't have everything right. They froze. They said, we need to cancel the board. And I sat with them and I asked them, what do you have? And what you don't have. That's what makes you strong in the company. Delimiting the known to the unknown. It's what you have enough to move forward. And they say, yes, we have this foundation, we can move forward. I said, that's enough for a decision. Instead of freezing and over-engineering your solutions, bring what you have and come back in 3 months with what you know at a time. We are checking with Gartner quite regularly. Many of you check with them. Where are we with the standards? Is this moving? We are 12 months in agentic AI, and that changes still. You cannot wait. In a company like KPN, everything takes time. We are a company of 10,000 employees, but also a company of the polder model. Everybody has an opinion, right? Every architect needs to have the architecture fit. And I challenge them. These architects have been working for very long for KPN. They are not used to take decisions that are not over-engineered. I see somebody laughing here. I think it sounds familiar. And that's why my role is there, to give them the courage to take the first step. But the leadership also needs to take a step, to be able to take decisions without knowing the plan from the beginning to the end. You know your end goal, you have your first step, and you need to keep going and learn. And I think in the AI world, it's all about learning. You cannot over-engineer it. You don't know what's going to happen in half a year from now. So you have to revise your solutions very often. Let's move on. I call it, and especially for today, it's the first time I talk about the physics of reinvention. Because I think this culture of trial and looking at the purpose, it's what gives a company the competitive edge. And that's where I spend a lot of time at KPN. I do a lot of education. This morning only, I was sitting with the customer operations in the business side, teaching them about what's an LLM. We use the best LLMs, they said. Great. Is that important? Of course, that's what we've been told. LLMs are very important. What do you know about RAGs? I asked them. No, we don't know. We don't need them. So an LLM without a RAG, it's a parrot. You have a parrot, and a parrot tells you what to do. A RAG gives you intelligence into that system that you use. And also, we need to use a better tool. No, you need to put your fundamentals in place. A better tool, it's not going to solve your hardcore problems. So in transformation companies that are going through a transformation, you have to identify your fundamentals. You have to have your work procedures. You need to have your databases correct. You need to have them clean. You need to have your goal. And this is hard work. No supplier from this room can come to me and solve my course problems. I know you come and say, I'm going to help you, I'm going to help you. No, because you cannot outsource a problem. You need to solve it yourself and get tools from the market that accelerate this. But the hard work, it sits in an organization. And as I said earlier, you need to learn to fail. A journey and a transformation is never linear. It seems linear when you look at the goal. It seems you go straight. But sometimes you may also go in circles. You need to reiterate. Don't change your strategy too often. People said, I'm going to write a new AI strategy. And I said, why do you write AI strategies? As a company, we already have a strategy. AI needs to help that strategy. We are not writing strategies when we find something wrong. Rob mentioned earlier use cases. I'm really sorry. In the AI world, I don't want use cases anymore. I want a quick use case and scale it up quicker. I came at KPN 7 months ago. Everybody was doing use cases. It's like it was something really new. I told them, stop with use cases. You are planting each a flower, but AI needs to work at scale. AI needs to work over silos. If each of you have built an AI silos, you are actually not having AI. You just optimized part of your journey. But the journey is not together. You don't take it together as a company. You just siloed yourself. And that's the hard part, making a conversation with the next department, going and tell me your purpose, going to explain to them what's your work and what you are trying to optimize. We had last Sunday a very interesting conversation about AI. We asked ChatGPT to tell us how to write emails, how to write strategies. And I observe it in the emails I receive. I observe it in the presentations, because it loses your own life, your typical you. It becomes general. So I ask companies in general, who are you? What's KPN? What's your identity? Because the AI needs to help you in your identity. The AI is not shaping your identity. It's not defining your identity. And that's a very tough conversation to have. Like in physics, actually in leadership, in the transformation, you have a few key ways of going around: the mindset, the leadership, and the new ways of working. And I said earlier, use cases, they are something from 2016. You actually need to go at the core. You will do less use cases, but you'll have a bigger impact. If there are here solution providers, if they come in a company and say, oh, I will help you have a use case to prove the value, I'm sure it will be successful. But is it successful at scale? So we need to make sure when we meet each other, you don't sound like a sales agent of a tool. I don't doubt the tool you have. I doubt the implementation in the organization. And you need to understand me. You need to understand my problem. If you sound too fluffy, I also don't like to talk too much about culture all the time, because you may sound too fluffy. So when you sit at a table with people in my department, we met a few months ago, we discovered in a call, you have to come with both perspectives, that you are able to understand how your tool is going to change an organization, and what do you expect from this organization to change. I like that challenge. I like when people tell me it's going to be tough. We started a project a few weeks back with McKinsey. That's why I can talk about them now, quickly. And at KPN, we are used to put everything on green. It's our color, but we don't talk about problems. And I said, I'm not interested in green. I want to see the problems, because the problems guide me. AI is not going to solve your problem. Us as leadership, we need to solve it. And if you don't address me the problem, the walls you encounter, I'm never going to be successful. And actually, in the last weeks, now I see a lot of problems. They come to me. We see this collaboration. We see, compliance, security, connecting machines, journeys that need to be defined. I said, thank God. Now we have a roadmap. That's why leadership is there, to hear what's happening. Otherwise, the transformation is not happening. But to talk about failure, to talk about that the roadmap, while it seems linear, may take some journeys around, it's a tough mentality to get. And I sit often also with executives, and these are executives that have been at a table for many, many years. What do you think in the culture you have now is holding you back? And what actually makes you free? When I had my first discussions to join KPN, I made it very clear. I'm here to make an impact. Please allow me to make an impact, and I can only do that if I can do things differently. Not because I know better, it's because I come with a fresh mindset. And I'm also not afraid to fail and start again, because that's all about AI, it's about learning. And AI doesn't work only by plugging it in your system. Time, and I'm done. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing that one with us. Something happened on the time. Anyway.
I still had 2 minutes. You cut 2 minutes of my life.
I had 15. I think there's something happened anyway, doesn't it? Do we have a quick question? Rob, please.
Do we have the thing? Here. I love the presentation. I love how you combine the technology and the culture and the mindset. And we talked about it a little bit. Because I think the question of how you use AI in a telco is really the question, how do you use AI in any large organization,
Yes.
an enterprise? Now, we talked about telcos for the last 2 days, and we always talk about telcos as being a bit slower and being a bit more followers, etc. And I think that's also the strength of a telco, right? It's an operational machine designed and built to be resistant to change, basically, and to be the 5 nines and always up and running. Now, when you think of it like that, and now we're putting AI in the hands of all these people, and we all know an AI or an AI agent is like an assistant in your pocket, right? That's how we like to think of it. And now with agents, maybe you have 10 of those. So you're 10 times more productive as a person. Now, and with your physics background, what happens if you put 10 times as much energy in a large block of particles?
It's a very good question because I spend a lot of my time talking about orchestrating agents. It's not about the number. It's about what they do and tell them what to do. And it's the story of the coffee machine that's broken, and you have 10 agents that are fighting and arguing how they should solve it. So when you build an agent, you have to give it a purpose and very clear task, and also orchestrate it, put it work with others. And as humans, we are not very good at thinking how to work with others, always. We have a preferred group, we have a certain habit, and actually if you want to build scalable AI systems, you actually need to go more outside of comfort zone, go into the gray zone between bridging to customer. How do they do the work? How do I do? And what's the connector? That's how I think it's very important, and it slows at the beginning the implementation. It slows it a lot. But it saves you a lot of waste, because imagine you build too many agents and all of a sudden all your IT system is blowing, it is burning, because they all rush very quickly to solve something, like some interns that you've given a task. You have to make them smarter and guide them. And I'm not sure how often we spend on this to decide what are your agents going to do, what are the guardrails. Guardrails are very important to send them in their journey. And people expect that you put AI in the system, and all of a sudden it's going to do your job. Even a human cannot do that. You say to a newcomer, I was a comer at KPN, good luck, find your way. Oh, where is this, where is it? You still need to have this hard part and the boring a bit to write the right step to be successful at your job.
Super. Miruna, thank you very much. Big round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you. I take this one.
We can shake
Thank you.
hands.
Fantastic. All right, good.